Hello and welcome to the Tools for Motherhood activity series. In this video today, we're going to be taking a look at a pre-writing activity for children 5 to 6 years of age, and it's called Fun with Names. When a child begins to write words, the first word he will love to write is his name. The goal of this activity is to look at the letters in her or his name and provide concrete objects to go up and down each letter and discover each of the curves of their name. Looking closely at how their name is written will plant seeds of discovery for words with similar letters in their environment. All right, let's take a look now at the materials that we'll be using. First of all, you're going to need some type of construction paper. Next, you'll need glue. You will also need marker of some kind. Also, various items to put on top of the letters, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit more of those here in just a second as we get started. All right, so first of all, you're going to start with the piece of construction paper. Now, depending on what is their favorite color, my favorite color happens to be red, so I chose a red permanent marker, and I placed, now for my son, he would love orange, so I could have used orange to put his name on the piece of construction paper here. Next, we will I'll take his hand, and I'll put my hand over the top, and we will put a thin line of glue around each one of his letters as we show him how each of the letters are made. All right, next, as it's still wet, we will take objects, something like, I happen to have some cereal here that's colorful, and I would have the child begin to place the little colorful loops around the outside where the glue is located, and trace around the outside shape of the name. Once it's dried, then we would go ahead and hang it on the refrigerator for him to look at. Then when we're at the grocery store, we can reinforce some of the letters that he's learning, obviously the J for his name, and we would go ahead and point those out in the environment. Next, another day you might try something, for example, how about quinoa? Quinoa is a tiny, tiny little seed or grain that we've got here, and you could put this inside of a cookie sheet with sides, and then put some quinoa into a Dixie cup and show your child how they could sprinkle it back and forth over the top of the glue line that's on each of the letters. Then you could let it dry. Now, obviously it looks kind of messy because it's all over. They don't have to be perfect and get it only on that. Go ahead and let them sprinkle it around and then shake it off, and then hold it up, and then they'll have little quinoa around the outside, and they can put their finger on it once it's dried and feel the texture of it. Glitter was something that we always had fun with, and we would just reuse the glitter. Obviously in the bottom of the cookie, the baking pan, I would just bang it into the corner and then pour it back into the glitter container. We used that for years. Something else you could use, of course, quinoa. We've got noodles. You could use beans. I've got lentils here. You could use scraps of paper. You could use, obviously, macaroni here, I already said. Shells, stones, cotton balls, whatever you happen to have on hand. All right, another example of something that I want to show you would be if you have like a glass container and some Jell-O on hand. You can open up the Jell-O container, pour it into the bottom of this glass pan, and shake it out so it's all even across the bottom. You can show your child how they can actually write their name in the powder. I mean, if they lick their finger, it reinforces what they're learning in another part of their brain, because as we use all 5 of the senses, it imprints in 5 different areas of the brain and helps them to retain that in memory. Now, let's talk about fast forwarding. Remember, we're trying to reinforce not only a foundation for school readiness, but once they get to school, something you could do would be to do the same thing, create this for them, and they could practice their spelling words. Again, it could just be drawn into the powder, whether they use their finger, perhaps they would rather use a pencil. Again, depending on the ability level, some children don't like the extra texture. Again, taking into account the needs of your child and how best they learn. Thanks for watching. If you would like more ideas, please check out our toolsformotherhood.com website. Happy learning!